Hello, hello, hello. Let's make sure I'm working here. Check 1 2. Good, 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 good. All right. So if you are joining me, I got to turn off that. There we go. Oh. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Just double checking something. Hello, hello, hello. Let's make sure. Oh, we got lots of buzziness. So I'm going to turn me down a little bit. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Let's see if that works. Okay. This is a live webinar, so I'm not post editing this, and so I want to make sure that you're getting the best sound quality as I can create here without having to sit here for an hour and fix my microphone, etc. You know, I love those live events. It's always a little more difficult to mess with. So, all right. So my name is Terry Dana Chikimak II. I'm the digital painter, and if this is your first time watching any of my videos, welcome. If you're a returning guest, even better. So having to sit here for an hour. I got a lot of. I wish I knew what was creating all the. I'm gonna have to go back and adjust things. So I apologize for the. I'm the digital painter. And if this is your first time, I apologize for some of the buzziness in this. So I'm going to try and clean it up as best I can. All right. So, oh, you know what? Let me do this. Let me get it up there. Live shows. I love them. All right. So, yeah. So this is a live webinar. I am on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, wonderful. If you're watching this live, even better. You can leave questions or comments on the YouTube channel. The way to find the YouTube channel, if you're watching this on my website, thedigitalpainter.com, is to click the YouTube button. That'll take you directly to the YouTube channel, and that should give you a good way to communicate with me. I am on YouTube, and if you're watching this on YouTube. All right, so what are we doing today? Well, I want to do a couple of things. First off, for those of you that are members or possibly looking to become a member of the Digital Painter website, I just wanted to point out a couple of new things that are up. I just recently put up our Thanksgiving 2015 pack. Let me move my camera over here. There we go. Oh, not quite. As I keep breaking things. Well, you get to see some of my house over there, I guess. Let's see. Oh, well. Okay, that's not going to work. So we'll come back over here. If you, I've wasted now, like 10 minutes already. You'll see that I've got a Thanksgiving pack download here. This is going to be for Art Rage. So if you're an Art Rage user, it's for that. It's got some stencils in it that I felt were very Thanksgiving-esque. Also, if you're any one of my members, whether it's a free membership or one of the paid membership, I've added some reference images. If you just go to your member area up top, you'll see I've added a bunch of images here. There's some there, and then I think some drop down to the second page. Maybe not. And a note with these images, you can download them as well. If you click on the button, the image comes up. You see the little download button here. You click that, and that will download it to your computer for, again, these are reference images. You can use them any which way you want. These are 8 new ones that I've posted, and now that I'm actually starting to build my photography collection, I'm going to start putting them out a little more regularly. So be prepared for that. I'm not going to really have any people in these images. These are going to be images of nature or architecture because I don't want to have to do release forms. So you're going to, if you're looking for people, there's plenty of other people that do people images out there. So I wanted to show you those two things going on. Make sure that if you haven't already, if you're either patron member or platinum patron, make sure you hit the Facebook group. You can see here that I'm not logged in, so I can't show you it. But I've been putting things up there along with our patron webinars and a bunch of other things going on. So make sure you're checking back on the website. Again, that's I'm going to be sharing with you a new Photoshop tool set that I found and I have actually purchased. It's one of the ones that you have to pay for, which doesn't necessarily bother me because the price is very cheap. Now, this is going to be great if you already have Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, then this may not be it may not be the most stimulating video today, but if you do have Photoshop, then this is something you're going to want to look into. And the name of the brush, well, let me pull it up. It's the guy who's created these brushes. His name's Kyle Webster, and some of you guys might already have these. And to give you an example, I got over 120. His Kyle's Ultimate Mega Pack was only $14, and then Kyle's Ultimate Real Watercolors, I purchased both. That was only $9. And I'm going to show you what these do because I've been amazed. I have avoided doing natural media in Photoshop because I never felt like I could get it to where I wanted it to be. But now it seems that with these brushes, I can actually achieve that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up a new file. Now, I'm not going to look at this at my camera a lot, but new file. If you do put comments, I've got the screen up right next to me. And click OK. All right. So the one thing to note about these tools is that, and I'll provide a link as well, is that these are tool presets. They're not just regular brushes. They're not just regular, smudge tools. These are tool presets. Hey, Tammy, and hey, Lewis. Yes, I do have more Art Rage videos set up for the future. I'm actually currently kind of booked to doing I'm doing a watercolor class for my patron members, platinum patron members, on the website that is Art Rage. But once I finish that, I'm going to start releasing a few more general videos onto YouTube. So I've got to finish that class first, but I will be going. I love Art Rage. Art Rage was the first thing that got me into digital art. On the computer side of things, not on the Procreate got me into digital art initially on the iPad, but it was Art Rage that has pushed me forward in on the computer. So yes, I will be doing some more Art Rage videos. All right, jumping back, and again, continue to ask questions. I will answer away because I like doing that, and I'm glad you enjoyed the Art Rage videos. So scrolling down, the thing with presets in, oops, sorry, and this is what happens. There we go. The thing with presets in Photoshop is when somebody builds a preset, it is they build everything into it. So, for example, this Kyle's Drawing Box Tiltorific 6 pixels, which is now one of my favorite drawing pencils in Photoshop, has a lot of things built into it. First off, he's included the ability to draw on both the top and the or to get straight lines like this, as well as do shading by tilting my pencil to the side, and he's built that into this preset, and I've slowly but surely fallen in love with this because of the ability to then come in, go on the side and shade things in, which I can do on some of my other things like Corel Painter and Art Rage has this a little bit, but Photoshop never did. So when I was working in Photoshop, I never felt I never felt like I was working with real tools, and that always drove me crazy. So this ability to do both kind of hard pencil lines as well as shading is really exciting for me. Okay. Got little indented cheekbones. She's not feeling well. She's probably not undead. I play video games, so you'll have to forgive me for the undead references. But you can see, again, how nice this draws. And I shouldn't have put that stuff there because now that's in my drawing. Now, again, like I said, I purchased 2 of his packs, and I'm actually contemplating buying a 3rd pack. He's got this wonderful gouache set, and I love gouache. I'm a big fan of that stuff. So, but let me go back into this because I want to show you what he's got for watercolors. And he's done, and for those that have watched my videos, you know I'm a huge watercolor fan. Like, I could live and breathe in watercolor, whether it's digital art or whether it's natural media. So he's got these brushes called the Wamazing brushes. So for example, this is the Wamazing 80 Multiply, and I'm just going to grab a color for her skin. And again, I've never ever felt like I could do watercolor in Photoshop. But these brushes, they've changed my outlook. Again, this is called the Wamazing brush. And the cool thing with this brush is that if you don't pull up your stylus, you can actually go over areas and pull up paint. So I'm going to show you as I go in and do her hair, because it's a little darker color. So as I lay in her hair, if I go over the same place, it lightens it up. Now these are all set to multiply. For those that didn't know, in Photoshop, you can actually set your brushes to multiply. You don't have to set the layers to multiply. And so as I layer up, now you can see here I've gone a little darker on this side, and say I want to kind of lighten up some of the, and I just go back over. Let's grab a nice dark brown as my second layer. Now this is part of his watercolor set. And again, if you've watched my videos, you know I have tried 8 billion different types of watercolors, trying to find that magic digital watercolor that blows my mind. And there's a lot out there that do different things that indeed does blow my mind, but I haven't found the one set that does everything. Let me jump up. I'm going to grab another brush. This is called the Irregular Edge. It's another one of my favorites. I'm just going to put a little bit more in here. Give ourselves a little bit of shadow there. I'm going to bring in a little pink over here. Blend it out a little bit. Now he has also in here built in some presets such as the soft edgers. So this is soft edger 2. Now let me zoom in so you can really see what's happening. You can see it softens those edges a little bit. I'm doing all of this on one layer. What I've been doing earlier is I've been doing it on multiple different layers, but you can do this on one layer. Let's give her, I'm gonna go back to my Wamazing brush. Where'd you go? Now, one of the things that I'm going to end up doing eventually is making my own box set. So, not let me phrase that, my own presets of the ones that I really like of his, because there's so many. Gonna give her a little bit of blue and then come back in and take out some of the white. I don't like that. This is a great thing about digital, right? You can hit the undo button. And again, I love art, and art that isn't trying to replicate real life photographs. So for me, this feeling of art, this feeling of roughness excites the heck out of me. Back to my amazing brush. Give her lips a little bit of color. I want a little bit of shadow. And then again, I'm going to blend out the sides a little bit. And of course, can grab the soft edger if I want. Oops, too big. Take that down a little bit. There we go. Just to blend that out a little bit. Zoom back out. And you can see, again, I never thought I'd be able to get to this point in Photoshop. I always thought, Photoshop was not going to be able to replicate natural media like I can do with ArtRage, like I can do with Corel Painter, like I can do with Rebel. So but it's not just watercolor brushes in here. I mean, he's got well, in the watercolor set, yes, it is just water, but in his mega cap pack, he's got a combination of things. Let me start at the top here. He's got oil brushes. We grab a little, and you can see it move around. Grab a lighter color. I mean, it's really nice. It's delicate. It feels good. And of course, different types of watercolor, right? Okay. He's got, now understand, I'm not, this is literally my second day with these brushes. So what you're seeing is me still kind of learning. This is a brush pen. Some of the pen, if you do any type of inking, some of the inking pens are just gorgeous. Again, I love the ability to undo. There we go, but you can see. And this is the ultimate inking thick and thin. Some more oil, some of the pencils. China, one of the ones that I was, and we'll get to, here it is, the graphite. It's got a shading graphite. I was doing some pencil work earlier. And he's got a bunch of these. This is the damp one. This is the fat one. This is a fat dry. I mean, it's like you have your own box of pencils with you as you sit there and sketch. You know, you just have fun drawing these little. Just little guys. So that's which that is. Let me remember which one I was playing with. There it is. That's the super light sketch graphite. Come down more again. More the Belgian comics is friggin'. I love how it looks. I mean, look at that. You've got a couple of an amazing cartoon nib. Some of these have beautiful textures along the sides. This is one. This is called the bone dry brush. You can see the texture in there. Let me open up a new one. Because what did I forget to do? I forgot to add a layer before I started drawing. There we go. You've got some very clean ones. He's even built in here this comic burst thin and thicker. So here's the comic books. Oops. As you can do, he's got comic book bursts in here. I love this one too. This is great. It's a great style. Couple of gritty ones. An ink spattering one. He comes down, and the one that I was playing with that is a lot of fun from earlier is the gouache set. Now the gouache set, he actually has a full set that I'm going to be looking at. I just have to see if I have the money to purchase it, because I want to make sure, it's Christmas time, right? So I'm supposed to be buying for other people, but I just want to play with art, right? Some Sumi ones. Here's a wonderful ink spatter. He does have some paint ones. Like, this is a bristle. Let me switch it to a different color. So you've got some nice bristly feels. And here's the gouache. And the reason I'm bringing up the gouache is because I want to bring up and actually do a little gouache piece. We're just going to do something simple. Let me grab my Tilterific. And I don't know. Let's think. What do we want to draw? I've been drawing video game characters earlier, but I want to go something a little simpler. And what we could do. Oh, let's go a monster. Let's go a monster. He's gonna be a little weird looking. I don't think he needs a nose. Do you think he needs a nose? Now, you don't have to erase like I'm doing. I find that it's necessary for me, because otherwise I get so focused on those stray marks. And that's, it's something I'm working on, but let's give him some. There we go. Very sad ears. He looks so sad. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. For those that are just joining, this is Photoshop. I'm using a new brush set that I just purchased, very reasonable cost. I already have Photoshop because of the work I do, so I didn't purchase Photoshop just for these brushes. So, all right. So I think we've got them sketched out. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these gouache, and what we're going to do first is we're going to do the background first, because I find that when working in this, because I'm going to be doing it all in one layer, you know what? Let's not. Let me do a second layer. Leave my pencil line. But I am going to do all my gouache on one layer. So I'm going to take my pencil line. I'm going to take my opacity down. And then I'm going to be using the gouache setting. Let me grab some water. There we go. My gouache setting. Where'd you guys go? A gouache go-go. Let's go background of... He's going to be blue, so I think I'm going to go kind of an orangish. Yes. I'm going to make this bigger. There we go. And don't worry, you know, I may go into him. That's fine. When we get back and we start doing the work on him, he'll pop back out. Notice with this brush, it has some texture to it, which is really nice. And so I'm actually letting that texture happen. I don't like flat. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm not a flat painter. I love texture. I love the feeling of canvases. Hence the reason why I use Art Rage so much. I'll close this for now. We'll come back to that. We're just, we're popping him out, my little monster guy here. Okay. And then, of course, as always, I'm going to use a couple of different colors, not colors, but variations of the initial color. Let me see. I want to find... Let me see what this does. There we go. Close that up. This is a wet gouache, so I'm just kind of spreading it around. I want to see what it does. Not uber impressed with that. Let's see what the alternative is. That has a little more texture. What if I make it bigger? No, not quite what I want. And this is, again, brand new set. Still kind of getting used to it. So trying to find exactly the feel. See, I want to use Gouache Go-Go. It's not blending like I like it. Maybe I do it anyways. I could just give it a little texture in some areas. And what I'm doing is I'm doing darker on the outside. Kind of a vignette. I guess I could play with the multiply. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't do it either, so that's fine. In fact, I hate the multiply. Oops, went too far. Can always step forward. There we go. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. A little darker on the outside there. Trying to keep brush strokes going in the direction because I'm creating kind of a vignette. There we go. All right, so we're going to make our guy blue. We're going to make him blue. And I'm just going to start going in. Oops, I want to reduce the size of the brush. And again, I'm doing on a layer that is above, or no, below the pencil. So we still have the pencil coming through. And again, I'm letting some of the texture show. I'm going over I'm going over everything. I'm not, I'm not slowing down here. This is kind of my base color. This is I'm not really worried about how hard things are in regards to the edges. I will reduce a little bit to get the ears. Back up, there we go. All right, so we have our base color down of our little monster guy. I'm going back over in areas. I haven't adjusted my darkness or lightness, but I'm just going over areas now, which will give a little more variation. I do want him to feel like he's a little furry. It's doing what I want. So we have a new viewer. Hi, viewer. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay. Now, I want this centered tummy area to be a darker blue. We're going to come in. There we go. We need to get his eyes back white. And I think what I'm going to do, because we need to shadow. So I'm going to grab his color, and then I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit. And just kind of shadow a little bit under his arms. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to shadow what would be his right side, our left side. I'm going to go over the top a little bit, not pressing too hard. And the ears. Now the big problem I have is that I tend to overwork things. So I'm having to tell myself right now, slow down. Don't just keep going on areas. You don't have to work it so much. So there we go. I'm liking how he's turning out. Now, one of the things that this toolbox does have is it's got some blenders. So I'm just going to kind of test them out just to see what they do. This is called the grainy blender. Actually, that's not too bad. Kind of like what that's doing. Softened it up a little too much, though. I like, see, and this is where I go back and forth, right? As an artist, I love the texture. And so I'm not willing to lose that. But another way you can blend things is if we go back to our gouache brush and pick a color in the middle, we start to blend and pick. Blend and pick. And there we go. I'm just doing some light work over top of it. Start to get that feel. Again, this is meant to be that it's textured feel. It's not meant to be a real smooth look. So I want the texture. I don't want to lose the texture. Let's give him some highlights. I think I got to think about his dimensions here. And I'm layering the highlights on. I'm not trying to do all the highlights at one time. As you can see here, if you try to do it all at once, it never comes out well. And eventually what we can do is we can turn off the pencil lines. We can start to see that our little monster guy, who's kind of sad, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to his outside edge here, and I'm just going to kind of start to round him out a little bit. Same thing up here. Although I do want to give a little bit of shadow. Right there. Again, I like to blend back in with the colors that I have available there. Of course, we can come back in with our background layer if we want to and kind of define a little bit too. So, good question, Tammy. I am using, it's a Wacom Cintiq. I'm drawing on, it's a 22 HD, though I have also used the Wacom Intuos Pro. In fact, what I began on was the Wacom Intuos Pro. It was a gift for Christmas 2 years ago from my mom, and she knew that I had started to get into digital art, and she purchased it for me, and I worked on that for 2 years, and I still love it. I still have it, actually. It goes with me to the college that I teach at, so that if whatever computer I'm on, if it has the software, I can go ahead and use it there. Not all of the computers at my college has the software, unfortunately. Now, The reason I ended up getting this one is actually twofold. One, I have always preferred drawing directly on the image. So, for example, that's why I'm a huge fan of iPad art. In fact, I'm giving a workshop next week. Well, this Friday in York, Pennsylvania, on iPad art at a theater conference. But I've always liked the feel of drawing directly on the item that I'm working on. And the Intuos Pro didn't allow me to do that. Good. Now, don't get me wrong. Great tablet. Like I said, I used it for 2 years in a variety of ways. But I just prefer this mode better. I like being able to touch it what I'm using. This was now. Not everybody can get one of these. I couldn't. Had I had my druthers 2 years ago when my mom said, well, "What do you want?" I would have said the Cintiq, and she would have laughed at me. But after doing some outside work this year, I do web design as well as digital art. I managed to save up a little money and purchase this so that I could continue in this as both a hobby and a career. Because I use this as, I'm a scene designer, costume designer, lighting designer, and so I use this in my occupation. And so it actually made sense for me to finally purchase one. But it took me a little bit. You can ask my better half. I went back and forth on, do I really need this? Can I really afford this? And what I will say is, since I've gotten it, I've enjoyed being able to create drawing directly on it. Now, the one thing I will say for all of these tools is the pressure sensitivity is kind of necessary. If you don't have pressure sensitivity, then it's not gonna the tools that I teach in Art Rage and Corel Painter and now Photoshop, you're not going to get the wonderful feeling of texture, the little variations. I mean, in this alone, I've been going light and dark, and all that's from what I can do with this tablet, which I can, like I said, I can do on my Wacom Intuos as well. Oops, wrong color. And you can see, and again, for me, it's all about creating digital art that harkens back to natural media. I'm not saying we have to make it natural media. What I'm saying is I love the texture and feel of natural media. And so for me, being able to create items in the digital media that have the feeling of natural media is really lovely. I wouldn't be able to do this. Oh, that's not what I want. I wouldn't be able to do this type of feel as quickly if I was doing this in natural media because of things like undo. I can't do undo when I'm working in my, because I love real watercolor. I mean, there's an organic feel to it. I can't create some of the stuff in watercolor that I can here. Give this guy a little bit of a, there we go. It's funny, I sit here and I play with this and new ideas come up and I'm like, oh, that's fun. Now, out of curiosity, Tammy, what are you using a tablet? And if so, what type of tablet? Oh, what did I just do? There we go. Because I'm always curious on what other people are using. I mean, I know I have my favorites. Okay, I like his eye. I don't like that eye. And there's the fickleness of me. Ah, good, good, good. Yes. Wacom Intuos. It's such a good. Okay, so here's my question for you then, since that's what you're using. Uh, how long did it take you to get used to looking at the screen while you were drawing? Because I found that was always my biggest. In the beginning, that was my biggest problem, is getting used to that. Once I got it down, I was okay. But it took me a little bit. I'm not liking what's happening here. You know, maybe just leave it alone. There it is. Just leave it alone, Terry. Yeah, that's been the hardest part. I'll tell you. Okay, so I had it for 2 years, and it probably took me 6 months to finally feel comfortable uh, using it. Which really isn't long if you think of what. I love it when my Photoshop tries to talk to me. What do you think this guy's looking at? Notice how he's looking off to the right. Is he looking at dinner? No, it's not real natural. But one of the things that I will say when it comes to working the Intuos is that the advantage is that you don't have your hand in the way. And I've actually learned that as I've worked here. There are times, that I'm working and I'm like, oh, my hand is in the way. I can't see what I'm trying to create. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but let's give this guy a little grin. There we go. I've made him happier. One little line, and now he's a happy monster. But yeah, I found that, once I started working on this, there were times that I was like, oh, my hand is in the way. I can't see what I'm doing. This is driving me crazy. Oh, you know what I can do? Let's give him kind of like a brow. There we go. Now, did you come to digital painting from natural media, or did you come into digital painting as your original? Because, you know, in natural media, your hand gets in the way all the time. And if you're like me, I put my hand down and all of a sudden I have smudges all over the place and it drives me crazy. So that's, you know, again, another thing that I like is that I can rub on any of these is I can rub my hand around and not worry about pulling up paint or pulling up charcoal. It always happened when I used charcoal. I have my sketch pads from when I was in grad school are in my office, partially because some of that work is so terrible that I like to show my students that even, you know, if you start terrible, you can learn how to draw. I hate what's going on over here too. Oh, I'm so picky. What are the odds that I can get this shadow to feel like what I want it to? Maybe if I just make it smaller. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. I understand that. I don't know if you've hit any of my videos where I talk about where I live, but I'm in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania. And to give you an idea, you are almost as likely to see an Amish buggy as you are a car on the road. So I really am in the middle of nowhere. I went to grad school in Detroit, Michigan, and I had this wonderful art store called Utrecht around the corner, and I could get any supplies that I wanted. I mean, it was just lovely, and I can't do that anymore, and I miss it. But I like the ability to. Part of the reason I do it is because it is a cheaper way. I agree, and there's longevity in it too. You know, like I said, my Intuos Pro lasted 2 years and still available. In fact, the hope is to keep it around so that my son and daughter can use it as they grow up. So there's longevity. The one problem I find with that is sometimes I will start a project and then never finish it because it's digital, and I'm like, well, I haven't wasted any time or money. And that's a horrible way to think about it, but it does happen to me. Come out here. I'm actually gonna go bring a little bit of lightness. There we go. Now, one of the things to note, one one of the ways I blend is that I will switch to my eyedropper tool and pick a color that's between the lightness and the darkness. So like if I'm over here, I'll pull this color, and that'll allow me to blend it a little bit if I don't want too hard of a line. All right, I'm feeling pretty confident about this guy. I think we're almost done with him because, like I said, I tend to overwork, and I don't want to do that. Well, as I finish this up, since Tammy, right now you're the only one the only one chatting with me. I can't say that nobody else is watching because there might be. I know Luis said hi earlier. But are there any other questions that I can answer before we start to wrap this puppy up? If you're not already a member of the Digital Painter website, make sure you are. I apologize, but I haven't had a chance to see who my new members are as of late, due to my occupation, what I do for a living. That's going to be changing now that the semester's almost done. But you know, I do these once a month, and I'd like to actually do it more often, but you have to balance time, right? I think I might actually get a printout of this guy. Oops, too dark. So I just like that there. Little tip on it. He's adorable. Oh, I love his floppy ears. I'm glad I went with the ears. And of course, if anything comes up, you know, if you have any questions later, feel free to contact me either on YouTube or sending me an email, which you can get at thedigitalpainter.com. Sorry, my contacts are being a little obnoxious right now. Well, definitely check it out. There is a free membership. Okay, I always tell people, don't worry about the paid memberships right away. Get what you can from the free membership. I mean, there are perks from the paid membership, but you know, I always steer people to the free membership first because it allows you to kind of see what it is that I have to offer. You know, some of the things you get with the free membership include stencils for Art Rage. So if you're using Art Rage, there's a lot of stencil packs. Not a lot. I mean, I'm building them up as I go along. And then I have reference photos. And then, of course, the webinars. You can easily catch all of my past webinars on there. So definitely check it out because it's, you know, it's fun. I have a lot of great members on there. People that I email with fairly often. So not a problem at all. Like I said, this is a brand new set. Before you go, before anybody goes, or if you're watching this recorded, the best way to find these are look up Kyle Webster and look for Kyle Webster Photoshop brushes. So, like I said, he's got a whole bunch, and we've just kind of touched. I did mostly gouache on this, but there is, you know, watercolor. There is inking, there is all sorts of fun things. You know, I only scratched the surface this month, so definitely check it out. Like I said, I'm going to be buying at least one, if not two more of his. He's got a gouache set, like a full gouache set that I'm like enamored with watching some of the videos that he's done, and he's got an art marker set. So I'm going to be playing with both of those hopefully fairly soon. So Tammy, it was great chit chatting with you. I'm glad that you're enjoying the videos, and like I said, I'm gonna keep posting videos. Art Rage 1 should be coming out probably after the new year, because I should be finished with my classes, the classes that I'm creating for my online stuff at that point. So, and yeah, thank you so much for sticking around and chit chatting with me. It's nice to have somebody to actually talk to. So have a wonderful evening on this lovely Sunday, and take care. And you know what? Before I go, if you have any further questions, let me just put this on here. That is my email address at the Digital Painter, and I give it out pretty much to anybody who has questions or comments or concerns. So definitely, send me an email if you need any help with anything. All right, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening, and thank you so much.